So here's going to be the first type of conic section, and this is circles. So let me first tell you what a circle is, the formal geometric definition of a circle. So a circle basically is all points in a plane that are fixed, that are a fixed distance, and this fixed distance is what we call the radius from a given point. And this given point is what we're going to call the center. So a circle basically is all points in a plane that are a fixed distance from a given point. So this fixed distance we call the radius, and that given point is what we call a circle, the center. So basically, if you think of a circle, right, here's a circle. Here is my center. And you have a point, and every single point x, y is the same exact distance, and we call it r. So here's my center. Now, one of the things that we want to look for the circle is that we want to basically derive some sort of formula. So we do know that for a circle in space, let's say we have this x and y plane. We have this circle. Let's say that this point is called HK. So HK is basically going to be my center. And I'm going to find the distance from HK all the way to this point XY. So we already know how to find the distance of 2 points. So what we're going to do is we are going to use the distance formula. So we know that the distance is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay, now this distance, we know that that's r. This is going to be the square root. x2, well, let's just label that just this x value. So let's say this is going to be our x2, y2. It's going to be our x1, y1. So this is going to be x minus h whole quantity squared plus y minus k whole quantity squared. And now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to square both sides to get rid of the square root. And what I'm left with is actually the equation of a circle, which is x minus h whole quantity squared plus y minus k whole quantity squared equals r squared. This thing is the equation of a circle. Okay. So notice here that the center is what we're going to call HK, and my radius in this case is going to be R. Okay, so just keep this in mind. So let me give you an example. So here's my example. Given the equation x minus 2 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 9, find center and radius. Okay, so here's the equation of a circle, and we want to find out what is going to be our center and what is going to be our radius. Now, something to really look out for is that this h and k have opposite signs. Notice that this is a negative, this is going to be a negative. The center is going to be the opposite of whatever that is. So our center in this case is going to be these numbers 2 and 1, and it's going to be the opposite sign. So it's going to be 2, 1, because they're negative there, so now they're going to be positive here. That's my center. My radius is going to be r. But notice that here we have r squared, which means that this thing is going to be squared. So what, in order for you to find r, let's just take the square root of this thing. So the square root of 9 is going to be equal to 3. So my radius in this case is going to be equal to 3. Okay. So now let's do a couple more problems. So write the standard form, and when I say standard form, I'm basically telling you this formula. So this formula is basically the standard form. Okay. So write the standard form of the circle with, let's do part A, radius 6 and center 0, 0. So right at the origin. So we want the radius to be 6 and the center to be 0, 0. Okay. So let's try this problem out. So the first thing that we're going to do is write the equation of the circle, which is just going to be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And all we really got to do is just plug everything in. So we're not going to plug in anything into x. This is my center, so I'm going to plug it in. X minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals r. R in this case is 6, so it's going to be 6 squared. So this is just going to give me x squared plus y squared equals 36. So this is the equation of my circle. Okay. So now let's do part B. Let's do another one. So write the standard form of the circle with radius 7 and center 2, negative 4. Okay, so what is this going to look like? So let's first write our equation of a circle. And now let's go ahead and plug everything in there. So we have x minus h. H is going to be this 2 squared plus y minus k. K is going to be this negative 4 squared equals r. R is 7 squared. Notice here that this negatives are going to be positive because a negative and a negative is going to just give me a positive. So we're going to have x minus 2 squared plus y plus 4 squared equals 7 squared, which gives me 49. And that's going to be my final answer. Okay, now how would you graph things like this? Well, actually graphing it is not too terrible. So let's just say we wanted to graph this circle. Graph. So let's start off with x squared plus y squared equals 25. Well, the first thing that you want to figure out is where exactly is the center. Well, notice that there's no h and k here. There's nothing in the insides. So our center is going to be 0, 0. Now, what is going to be the radius? Well, the radius is just going to be the square root of whatever this is. That's going to be the square root of 25, which is equal to 5. So all we got to do to graph it is the following thing. So here's my x and y axis. Center is at 0, 0. That's going to be there. And this radius is 5. So what I usually do is I say 5 units this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units this way. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units this way. So all I gotta do is just plot them. I'm not a good drawer. I'm not gonna grade you on your drawing skills as long as you just give me a circle. This is gonna be 5, 5, negative 5, negative 5. That's basically the best circle that I can probably do. So it's not that bad. All you got to do is just graph the center and the radius. So let's try another one. So let's say we wanted to do x squared plus y squared equals 4. Okay. So what would this be? So here's going to be my circle. It's at 0, 0. That's the center. So center is going to be at 0, 0. And my radius is going to be at the square root of 4, which in this case is equal to 2. So I start at 0, 0, and I go 2 units in each direction. Minus 2, 2, 2, and minus 2. And all I gotta do is just write the circle. Okay, that's all there is to it. Let's do another one. So let's say we have part C. Let's say we had x minus 2 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 4. Now the center is not 0, 0. My center is now going to be at these two numbers. And remember, they're always the opposite. So this is a negative 2, so it's going to be a positive 2. This a positive 1 is going to be a negative 1. The radius is going to be whatever the square root of 4 is, which is going to be equal to 2. Now, how would you graph something like this? Well, Let's first start off with the center. The center is going to be 2, comma, -1. So here's my center of the circle. So this, imagine that this is a new origin. Now we're going to go 2 units up, down, left, and right. So we're going to go 2 units up, 1, 2. We're going to go 2 units down, 1, 2. So now I'm at -3. 2 units to the right, and 2 units to the left, 1, 2. So my circle is going to look something like this. Okay, so the center is different. All we're just using is the radius, 2 units, wherever the direction is. All right, so graphing is not too terrible. Let's do a couple more problems so that that are a little bit more involved. So let's say we want to write the standard form of a circle with center 7, 1 and contains the point -1, -5. Okay, so this problem is a little bit more involved because they don't give us the radius. They gave us the center, which is great. They give us that. So let's just plug that in. So we know that we have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So I know what h and k is. So h in this case is going to be the 7, so x minus 7 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals r squared. I don't know what r squared is. But they gave us another piece of information. The circle contains this point. So this is just a point xy. So guess what we're going to do with this x and y? Well, all we got to do is just plug it in. So I'm going to take this x and this y and I'm going to plug it in there. When I plug it in there, I'm going to figure out what my r is. So I'm going to have -1 minus 7 squared plus -5 minus 1 squared equals r squared. So this is going to give me -8 squared plus -6 squared equals r squared. 8 is going to be, -x squared is going to be 64 plus 36 equals r squared. And this is just going to give me 100 equals r squared. Take the square root. We know that the radius can only be positive, so we don't add plus or minus. Radius is going to be 10. So what's going to be my equation? Well, my equation, which was this part, was x minus h was 7, plus y minus k was 1, equals r squared, which is 10 squared. So my entire equation is going to be all of this. Oh, I forgot the squared, 100. That is my equation that satisfies that. Okay. All right, now let's do 2 more problems. Okay, so here's my next example. Find the center and radius. Okay, so here's my equation. X squared plus y squared minus 4x minus 6y plus 4 equals 0. Now this doesn't look like a circle. It doesn't look like the equation of a circle. But we can make it into an equation of a circle by completing the square. So we do have to use completing the square in this case. So what I would suggest is group all my x's first and group all my y's. So let me move this 4 over because this 4 has nothing to do there. So I have x squared plus y squared minus 4x minus 6y equals -4. So I don't care about that -4. So now let me group all my x's. So here's an x and here's an x. So I'm going to group them, x squared minus 4x. And I'm going to group all my y's. Plus y squared minus 6y equals -4. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to complete the square. Now let's start off first with my x's. And then we'll do my y's. So in order to complete the square, remember I take this number, this -4, I divide it by 2 and then square it. That's going to give me negative 2 squared, which gives me 4. And now for the other one, which I'm going to write it in this blue, I'm going to take this same number, this negative 6, divided by 2, square it. This gives me negative 3 squared, which gives me 9. Okay, so what am I going to do? So for the green one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take x squared minus 4x, and this 4, I'm going to add it, plus 4. Add that plus 4. Now for the y's, I'm going to have plus y squared minus 6y plus this 9 equals this negative 4. Now I can't just add a 4 and add a 9 just because, right? If I did it on this side, I also have to do it on the other side. Because remember, we subtracted the 4 also. Remember when we did completing the square, you add 4 and then subtract 4. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the 4 over here. So this 4 that I added on this side, I'm going to have to do it on the other side. So this plus 4. And this plus 9 that I added here, I'm going to add it over here. Plus 9. Okay. So now what I have, I can completely factor this. This is going to be x minus 2 squared. I can completely factor this. Y minus 3 squared. This goes away because this cancels out, and I'm left with a 9. Okay, and this is my answer, kind of, because now I completed the square. This looks a lot like a circle now. We want to find the center and the radius. My center is going to be 2, 3, because that's what this is. And then my radius is going to be the square root of 9, which is going to be equal to 3. So this is my solution. Okay. So in the next video, I will do another problem very similar to this one.